In this video, we'll create this landing page using Astro. Astro is a framework to generate static websites with very minimal JavaScript, so they load super fast. Astro can be easily integrated with other frameworks, and in this case, we will use React and Tailwind. In this project, we will create two React components, the Navbar and the Sidebar, so that's the only JavaScript that will be included by Astro. This is a front-end mentor challenge. They release these challenges every week or so make sure to check out their website to get all the files for this project, and I will also leave the link to my repo in the description down below. Let's create a new Astro project. So we run npm create astro add latest, so we get the latest version of Astro. And here we just need to give this a name, so we call this landing page Astro. And here we need to choose a template. In this case, I want just the basic template. But if you are creating a blog or portfolio, Astro actually has some really good starting templates. In this case, just choose basic. And we want to install the npm dependencies. Okay, so once this is done, we can say yes here. So we create a new Git repository, and in this project I will use a lot of TypeScript, so I will just choose relax in this question. And yeah, we have a new project. So we just need to seed into the project. And let's see, we have a few files here. The most important is probably the source folder. So let's check that out. We can see Astro created 3 folders, the components, the layouts, and the pages. So in this project, we will just create some new components. We can actually reuse some of the code in the layout and in the index. But before we start writing our code, we're going to have a few more dependencies. So Astro provides some way to integrate other libraries pretty easily. So for example, here we want to have React. So we can just run this command if we use npm. So let's do that. npx astro add react. So we have React support. So we say yes. Astro would like the following change to the config files. Yes. Success. Okay, so now we need another package. We want to use Tailwind, so we can go to this section. And it's pretty much the same command, just change the name of the project. And here we say yes. And yes, we want to create the config. And we want to open the Tailwind config. Here we want to add something to center the container. So we will add this center true here. And we also want to add some new colors. So let's add some new colors. I will just copy this from the final code. These are in the challenge specs. So you can get those colors from there, and actually you can name this as whatever you want. But this is how they call the colors in the challenge. So I will just use some similar name. And that should be it for the config. So now let's start the web server. So we run npm run dev. And we should be able to go to this page. And we can see the welcome to Astro page. So we can start updating this index page. Okay, so let's move this window to the right. Let's open up the index page. And here we can see Astro is using two Astro components, the layout and the card. For this project we won't use that card component, so we can remove this, and we actually can remove all this code too. I don't think I need anything of this. In here we can change this title, front end mentor. This challenge is called intro section with drop-down navigation. And here we want to have a main with a container, Tailwind container, and inside this main we will have some more content. For now I'll just type hello world and save, and we can see the hello world in the screen, so that's good. Okay, so the first component we want to create is the header component. So it will be this one here, and this includes the navigation, the logo, and these two links at the right. Okay, so let's create a new file called components. This will be called header.jsx. Something really important that I noticed with Astro is that you need to use JSX instead of just JS. If you use just JS, it doesn't work for some reason. Not sure if there's a way to configure that, but for me it didn't work. So let's open up this file here, and let's create a functional component, a React functional component. So here we will have the header, so let's just type header, and for now just include this in here. So this should be just header. So auto imports are not working for me, so we need to type here import header from this is in the components. This is, one level up components header. Okay, so that works. We see the header message and the hello world below that, so let's delete this one and let's go to the header. And the header will be basically a flex container, so let me delete this. Here we want to have a header tag, and inside this we will need a div for the flex container. So we will have a flex container. We want to have some padding at the top and bottom of 5 and 3 for the left and right. And inside this we will have the 3 different sort of columns. One is for the logo, so we want to have another flex container so we can center the logo. So this will be vertically centered, and we want to have some little padding at the top. And inside this we want to have the image. So I will copy all the images from the challenge into this project, so we have all the images ready. Okay, so all the images are in the public folder, so I can use the logo image here. Obviously you can get the images also from the repo. I will put the link in the description down below, and this will be just logo. So we should see the logo now. That's looking good. We need another div for the nav menu. In the nav menu will be another component, another React component. So, but for now we can just put a placeholder there, and this will be item center, and we want to have some Z index here because the drop-down menu should be over the everything in the page. So that's an issue I had when I was working on this drop-down. So we want to just give a high value for the drop-down and a lower value to the body of the page, usually 0. Placeholder here, not menu. And at the right of the header there should be something, 2 links. So let's create a new flex container with item center, so it's vertically centered, and we want to have 2 icons. This one will be a link. This is to open the menu. We will have a link. This is the little burger icon. So let's put just a pound sign here, and inside this we will have an image, and this will have some classes actually. So this will be a block type, and we want to have this hidden on desktop or larger breakpoints. This is only for mobile. So this didn't work because these columns don't like to the emmet autocomplete. So this image will be images. This is called icon menu.svg, and this is the navigation menu. Okay, so now we have this little icon. So it should only be visible on mobile. So let's see. It is not because I didn't change this to a to a column, but it should work now. Yeah, so it's hidden on desktop, and we want to have another container for the login and register link. This will be only for desktop. So let's actually add the classes here, because when we add the columns, Emmet doesn't really autocomplete these classes. So this will be hidden on mobile, and we wanna show it as a flex container on desktop. And we also want to have some spacing between the 2 links, and we want to have the items center. So let's save this. Inside this we want to have the login. In this case I will just create a div. So this will be hover. On hover I want to make it a little darker. So let's autocomplete here and change this to a column. And we want to have also another class so we can see the cursor icon. And here this will be login, and you can make this is an anchor tag, I guess, instead of a div, but let's keep it like that. I have it like that in the final project. And we want to have another div for the register button. So this one we have a border too, and some hover class here, but let's autocomplete and add the other classes. Border almost black. The text should be almost black too. And we want to make it rounded. XL, so we have some nice rounded corners. And we want to add some padding to the left and right and to the top and bottom. And this should say register. And let me see. So here we don't see anything because this is only for desktop. But now we should see the two links, the link and the button. And the hover functionality works fine. Okay, so now let's work on the nav menu. So let's create another component here called nav menu. And this will be also a React component. So let's use JSX as the extension. This will be a React functional component. And let's call this nav menu. And just show nav menu here as a placeholder. And in here, let's include nav menu here. So this will be nav menu, and let's import the nav menu. So let's type nav menu and nav menu here. Alrighty. Okay, so before we continue, we need another dependency, the headless UI library. So let's go to the headless UI website. And here we want to use the menu component, this drop down here. So yeah, let's install the headless UI library here. Let's just stop this and run the command. And now we can start the server again. Let's go back to this page. So now we are ready to use that library. So we want to use the menu component. So let's use the import command. And let's import the menu from headless UI React. And in here we want to have a nav component, a nav tag. We want to have a UL, so we list all the different options. And this will be hidden on mobile, so we need to expand the browser in a moment. So let's add the other classes here. We want to make this visible as a flex container on desktop. And we want to have a space X7 to have some nice spacing between the items. And also on desktop, we want to have some margin left of 14. And let's add some items here. So the first one will be these features. This will be a drop down Let's check out the active state. So this will be a dropdown, the company will be another dropdown, and these two will be just links. So let's grab some code from the documentation. We can actually use this as a starting point. So this will be one of the dropdowns. And let's save this and see how it looks. Okay, so one important thing with Astro is that you need to specify when you want to have JavaScript included on the website. So in this case, the dropdown isn't working because we are not really including the JavaScript. So we need to do that. We need to go to the index.astro, and here we need to add a new directive called client only equals React. So this way we'll have JavaScript for that particular component. It doesn't look pretty, but the JavaScript is pretty much working here. So now let's go back to the nav menu. And let's adapt this code to the code we want. So here we want to have a features button, and we want to have an icon, an arrow down icon. So let's add this image tag with an inline block class. The margin left will be 1. And this will be in images icon arrow dash down .svg, and this will be the icon down arrow. And let's save this. So now we should see the icon. So we can see the icon here. Okay, before we continue, let's add some nice animation. So if we go to headless UI, you can see some code for transitions. So we can just grab this code from here and wrap the items with that code. And we can just close this tag here, and we need to import transition component. So we now should have a nicer animation for the dropdown. Okay, so now let's style the actual dropdown menu. So let's add this class name here. We want to absolute position the drop-down menu, and we want to make it go from the top right to the left. Let's add some margin 4, some nice width, and we want to have some nice spacing at the top and right of 3. It should be rounded in the corners. And we have some shadow, a drop down shadow. Background should be white, and we want to have some more styling to the shadow. Should be black, ring opacity of 5, and we want to remove the default focus that is added by the browser. So we want to make this outline none. So let's check it out real quick. So we can see now it looks a little bit better. So now let's style the items. So here we want to have some gray background, and this should be 900, a little bit light gray background, and this text should be a little bit darker, so it should be gray 900. And we want to add some more styling to the default item. So this will be block. It should take the default, all the available space from the parent div, and this will be aligned to the left. The padding X should be 4, padding top and bottom 2, text should be small, and the cursor should be pointer. So let's check it out. So it looks a lot better, and this actually is the to-do list. And we want to have some icon here, so let's add an image tag here. This will be images icon to-do.svg, and this will say to-do list icon, and we want to have some styling here. This should be inline, so this is in the same line as the text, and the width should be 4, and the margin right 3. So let's check out our icons. So it looks better now. Okay, so now let's style the other elements. Okay, so let's delete these items, and we can reuse some of this code because it's pretty similar. And here should be calendar, and this should be calendar, and this should be calendar too. And it looks a lot better, to-do list and calendar. So we have a few more. The reminder, here this should say reminder, and reminder. Let's add an X here, S and S. Okay, reminders, looks good. Let's add the other one. This will be planning. Okay, so that's the last one for that item, for this menu. And the other menu is pretty similar, so I will just copy all this code from here to the other menu that is inside the LI, and I will create another LI, and here I will paste the other menu. This one will be the company. So let me see. Okay, so now we have company, and here we have some different items. We have history, and we can remove the icon. We don't need the icon in this one, and this one is our team. Let's remove the icon. And the last one is block. And I think we can delete this one. So you have history, our team, and block. And here we have to-do list, calendar, reminders, and planning. Something really important about headless UI is that it's fully accessible, so you can actually use the keyboard to navigate through the items. You can use escape key, you can use enter to open the Dropdown tab. So that's really important in a real world application. Okay, so we can add two more elements here. This will be this item will be the career, so let's add some styling, cursor pointer. On hover we wanna make it a little bit darker, and this will be careers, and the other one is pretty similar, but it will be block, excuse me, about. And before we continue, let's update something in the layout, because we don't really have the font that is required by the challenge. So I will just copy the code from my final code. It's basically some font from Google Fonts. So you can go to Google Fonts and get the font, or basically you can get this from the repo. Okay, so I don't have auto formatting in Astro, so let's delete this other code, and we want to have some styling here too. We want to have the text should be medium gray by default, and the background will be almost white, and we want to add some z-index of 0, so we don't have any issues with the drop-down menu going below something in the body. Okay, so now we can see we have the hover effect. The text goes from light gray to dark gray. We also need that effect here, so let's fix that. So this should be in the bottom, and this should be class name, text almost black, but on hover. So let's check it out, features, oops, yeah, and let's do the same for the other bottom, which is the company. Oops, I forgot to, I need to copy this again. What's going on? Oh, junk till the closing. Okay, so let's copy this and paste it here. Okay, so we can see the hover effect. Okay, so now let's work on the content of the page. So as we can see here, we have some text on the left, this image on the right, with a call to action here, and we have some different layout on mobile. So we have basically one column. So we will make these two columns on desktop and one column on mobile. And let's go to the index file, and here we want to have a grid with a style of one column for mobile, and we want to have two columns for desktop, and some spacing of 4, and on desktop we want to have a bigger spacing 7 rems, and a padding top of 5. Text should be center, and on desktop we want to have some alignment to the left, and the width should be 1024 pixels. Remember that when you want to have some specific values, you want to use these brackets and put the value here. You can use pixels, rems, or anything. And we want to make this automatically center on the horizontal axis. So what else? Let's go to open to inside this div, and the first column should be a flex container of type column. Let's autocomplete this, and we want to have some different style for the desktop. Here we want to make it a row, so this should be flex row, and the items should be center vertically, and this should be relative, so we can absolute position some items inside, and let's see index of 0. And inside this div we want to have some h1 tag. Text should be almost black, and we want to make it 4XL, so it's a little bigger. Let's autocomplete this, and here we want to say make remote work, so we can see the text now. And this is should be bolder. And for desktop we want to add some more styling. Want to make this 5 rems, and we want to have the line spacing of 5 rems, and that's it for desktop. And now we want to add some paragraph. This should be padding 5, top and bottom, and on desktop it should be 4 rems, and text should be XL. And I will just copy this from the final code. Save this code. So we now have a paragraph there, and below that we want to have a button. This should be text almost white, and the background will be almost black. Should be rounded, XL, padding X of 5, padding top and bottom of 2. We want to have some border, almost black, and let's add some more styling here. We want to make this on hover go to background almost white, and we want to change the text to be text almost black, and the text on desktop should be bigger, should be XL, and some more padding on desktop here. Let me see if I can format this a little better. And the button should say learn more. So let's check it out. So on hover, you see it changes the background. So that looks good. Below that div we have our UL. So this will be actually class, not class name. This is not React. Should be absolute position. Bottom should be -1 rem. This is just for some alignment. And this will be justify center. Margin top should be 3 rems. Space should be x9. And the items will be center. Okay. Inside the li, we want to have an image. Let's try to indent this here. And this will be all the clients. So this one, I will actually just grab this code from the final code because it doesn't make sense to type all that. Okay, so these are all the different clients. And finally, we want to add the column at the right. This will be a div with order first, so it goes to the top on mobile and go last on desktop. Oops, I always forget this. Okay, so let me replace this with a column. So inside this we want to have 2 images. These are the hero images. So the class should be hidden on desktop. So this is the mobile image. Margin bottom should be 9. And this image is called image hero mobile .png. So this should say hero, and we can see the image here above the title. So let's add the other one. Oops, I forgot this. Okay, so the other one should be actually hidden on mobile, and we want to make it block on desktop so it shows up, and this will be hero desktop. So let's check it out. So we can see the image goes first on mobile and goes on the other position, on the last position on desktop. In this final section we will create the sidebar. So it should look something like this. We can see we have some animation, so the sidebar slides from the right to the left, and there's an overlay here, and you can actually close the sidebar if you click here, or if you click on this button. This also includes some drop-down menus and the same links we have on the Navbar. So let's get started with that. Okay, so here let's create a new file. This will be called sidebar.jsx. So it will be a React component. React functional component sidebar. So now let's go back to the header and let's import the sidebar here. And the sidebar should be here. So we can see the sidebar message here. So let's go to the sidebar file. And we can use some code from the headless UI documentations. So here we have some example how to do the animation for a sidebar. So we have two transitions, one for the sidebar and another for the overlay. So we have some nice effects for the two different elements. So let's grab this code. Oops. From here. Okay. So let's move this window back to here. And we want to have some state here. I will replace this with open, and this will be actually a prop. So this will be open and false by default. And we want to pass the setter. So I will define this in the parent element. So the parent component is the header. So let's define some state here. So I use state. This will be open. I hate this autocomplete. And this will be set open, and this will be false. Okay, and we want to import the use state from React. And we want to pass that to the sidebar. And we also want to pass the set open function. And here I forgot to import the transition component from headless UI. So we should have some state here, but we don't have anything to trigger that change to open true. So we want to make the burger icon to trigger the open state. On click, I want to set open to true here. We won't see anything because we don't have anything in the sidebar. So this overlay will be basically a big div that's taking all the space in the screen. So width should be full, height should be full, it should be fixed for the position. The background should be black. You want to have an opacity of 80, and we want to make it the index of 10, so it goes over the elements in the page, and inset 0, so you basically have all the positions to 0, top, left, right, and bottom. That should be the sidebar, but we want to have some way to close the sidebar, so let's add on click event here, and this will have the set open to false. Okay, so I think we should be able to see the overlay. Yeah, we can see the overlay here, and if we click the overlay, it's closed. So that's it for the overlay. So now let's work on the sidebar. So the sidebar is basically a div that is taking all the vertical space here, and it should be aligned to the right. So let's create a div here. This should be fixed. Right position should be 0. Top should be 0. The width, I want to make it 250 pixels. Take the whole screen. Background should be almost white. And the padding top should be 20. Padding, the other padding should be 8, and the Z index should be 50. So it goes on top of everything. Okay, so that should be the div. And we want to have inside the div, we want to have an anchor tag. And this will be, let's just create the tag. Add a pound sign here, and on click, this is the link to close the icon, to close the sidebar. So this will be a function to set open to false, and inside this we want to have the X icon. So this should be an image, and we want to use the icon close menu.svg, and this will be a close menu, and the styling should be absolute position to the closed to the top right. So there should be a little spacing. So it should be right 5. So I have an error here. Let me see what I'm missing. Oh, this autocomplete is broken. Let's grab the code from the final code, so I don't have to type that all again. Let me see. So now we can see the sidebar is here, but the animation is wrong because it's coming from the left. So let's fix that. So let's add some styling to the transition child component here. This should be fixed, should be right 0, top 0, width should be the same as the sidebar, so it should be 250 pixels. Let's add some Z index, and it should take all the horizontal space. And let's check it out. Okay, much better, but the animation is still incorrect. And to fix the animation, we just need to remove this dash here and here. So basically, when the animation starts, it goes from this side of the screen to this side, because with the minus or the dash, it goes from this side to the other side. So let's say this and check it out. We can see it's fixed. And for the content of the sidebar, we will use a component called disclosure, which is something like an accordion. So you can see if you click here, it basically expands like this. So it's very similar to what we need. So we can just grab some of this code. So let's copy first this part from here to here. We want to have an UL, and inside the lib, the li, we want to have that element, and here we want to import this closure like this. Let's save this and let's check it out. So actually we don't have this icon, so let's remove that. And we can see the accordion here for this closure. So let's adapt this code to our project. So here we want to have some different styling. We want to have some flex container, so flex column, space wide should be 3, and we want to have let's delete this. And this button should be a flex container. So this should say flex. Items should be centered vertically. And text should be aligned left. And inside this, I want to have a span tag. And inside the span tag, you should say features. And let's add some margin, right of 4. And here we want to have an image, which is the icon, the arrow down icon. So this will be inside the images folder, icon, arrow down. Oh, this is actually based on the open variable. So if the if open is true, we want to show the up icon, and if it's false, we want to show the down icon. And this should be SVG. So let's check it out. So we can see the icon changes based on the state of the accordion. So that looks good. So inside the panel, we want to have some other elements. Let's remove this highlighting. So we want to have a UL. And here we have a list of the different items. So this should have some cursor pointer, class, pointer. And these ULs will have some different styling. This will be a flex container, and it should be a flex column with some spacing of 3 in the y-axis, so there's some vertical spacing. And inside this li we have an image. This is an icon for the to-do, so this should say to-do list icon, and we want to have some styling. This will be inline, and the width will be 4, and the margin will be 3. And next to that, we will have to-do list test text. And let's check it out. So we now have to-do list. But we want to have some styling here in the panel. So let's add some more spacing. Padding top 4, padding bottom 2. The text should be small and the color should be gray 500. So that should fix that little spacing issue we have here, so it looks better now. And the other elements are very similar, so I will just start copying and pasting this. The second element is the calendar, and this should say calendar. Let's check it out. Okay, so this is calendar. And let's just do the other ones. So next is reminders. So this is reminders, and reminders. And the last one is planning. So this is planning, and this is planning. So we should have all the items now for this particular part of the menu, features. And the other one is pretty similar, so I will just copy this code and move it here. This should be an li, and I need the disclosure tag, and here the disclosure tag. So let me see if this is okay. So yeah, it's fine. So now let's edit this. This should be company. And we can and these elements don't have icons, so this is the first one will be history, and we can just delete the others and just copy this one. The other one is our team, and the last one is block. So let's check it out. Company, history, or team. So the final items don't really have an accordion. This will be careers, and this will be about. Okay, so that looks good. So on this sidebar, the final part is the two links for the login and the register. So let's create a new div here. This will be a flex container, it will be a flex column. Space should be 5. Items should be center. Everything should be center. and the padding top should be 8. And inside this container we want to have the 2 links. The first one is the login, so let's just create a div here. Class names should be hover, text almost black, and cursor pointer, and this should say login. And the second element is also a div, so this should be taking the full width, and is a button, takes the full width too. Border should be 2, and this one should say register. So let's check it out. Okay, so now we need to add some more styling to the register button, so wanna make it go darker on hover, and the text should be almost black, should be rounded, XL, and some padding. Let's save this. So it looks much better now, and that's it for the sidebar.